This is the plaintiff, Rich Brown. He says he hired the defendant to install a new liner in his pool. And when he started the job, the defendant told him the liner was the wrong size and it wouldn't fit. He then left his pool in disarray and didn't reinstall the top rails of the pool, and the walls collapsed. He hired another guy who installed that very same liner, which was the correct size, and is now suing the defendant for the $2,900 he had to spend to put his pool back together. This is the defendant, Steve Vogt. He says the pool walls were already collapsing when he arrived to do the work because there was no water in the pool. In addition, the plaintiff purchased the wrong size liner and it didn't fit. He told him he would come back when he got the right size, and then the next thing he knows, he's being sued for ruining the guy's pool? No way. He's accused of draining a customer.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milianto presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Brown, you have a pool. I guess it's what kind of pool do you have that it has a liner?
It's an above-ground pool.
An above-ground pool. And how did your previous liner had been there for how long?
8 years. We purchased the pool April of 2012.
All right. Now, did you decide on your own, or did someone tell you you needed a new liner?
Decided on my own.
Okay. Where did you get the new liner from?
Great Escape is actually, that's where we bought our pool from.
Okay. So, but they could not install the liner for you?
I guess I didn't ask that question. I called my pool place, and they're the ones that recommended the defendant. The people where I buy my chemicals from.
Okay, so you call the people who you buy your chemicals from, they recommend the defendant as someone who can change a liner. What happens? You hire him, and how much are you supposed to pay him for the job?
It was between $300 and $400.
Between $300 and $400. Okay, and what happens?
Both my boys was there. His brother was there. We ended up helping him take the liner out, and I had to end up hauling it away, and supposedly he said it was the wrong liner, that it wasn't going to work. He said the new one, you hauled away the old liner, and he says that the new liner wasn't going to work. How did he conclude that? Was he trying to fit it in and couldn't? What was it that made him conclude that? Do you know? I'm assuming it was from that seam that was on the bottom that was like 6 inches from the bottom, and he said it was way too short. I don't know. That's why I hired somebody to do it, because I don't do them.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, what was wrong with the liner, Mr. Fote? Tell me what was wrong with the liner.
Well, I'll tell you, Your Honor. Normally how you install a liner is you unfold it, you stretch it to the sides, and then you pull the vertical part of the liner up to the rim. This particular liner was a snap-in liner. And so once my brother and I got it stretched out, ready to start putting water in the bottom of it, we pulled up the sides, and it was 8 inches from the top of the pool. And every pool liner that I've done previously has always reached to the top of the pool.
I'm sorry, what is your profession? What do you do for a living?
I remodel homes. And I was probably one of the first things I explained to the defendant, that I remodel homes. And I get calls from people all the time because either somebody wants to charge them $1,800 or $1,200 to install their liner, or they can't install it for 3 or 4 months until the summer's over and they miss the swimming season. So when I can fit it in, I do fit it in, and I've never had a problem thus far.
Here's my question. How often do you install liners?
Not often. I've done maybe 10. I did three last year, and I did about 6 this year. And every liner that I installed fit properly. Was an easy install, and like I said,
is a snap-in liner something new for you or no?
It was the second one that I've done. The first one, I thought it actually makes it a lot simpler.
Okay, all right. So you conclude based on your visual that it's the wrong liner. Do you call the company that sold it to him and go over it, because they sold him the pool, so they know what liner to send him? So did you go over that with them, or?
He actually called them. He explained, and then I actually finally got on the phone with the technician, actually the owner of the company, and he said that these pool liners will stretch. And I told him that there's no way this pool liner is going to stretch that much. And like I said, I remodel homes, Your Honor. I did this on a Sunday afternoon, trying to help this gentleman out. He has a bunch of grandkids that
Well,
wanted to use.
I mean, that's fine if you're qualified to do it. If you're not qualified to do it, then don't get in over your head. So what happens on Sunday? He says wrong liner, and what happens?
Actually, it was on Saturday, and I did call the company, and I complained about it and said, he's telling me it's the wrong liner. I don't have any idea. They said they've never sent the wrong liner in the wrong box. Make a long story short, the liner didn't get installed that day. That's the guy that installed it. It is the same liner. So there's the right there, that picture right there. That's from Great Escape. And if you zoom in on 6 inches, and he said that seam's supposed to be at the bottom, and no, it wasn't.
Great Escape said that seam should be where?
Right where they're saying 6 inches from the bottom. See, there's a seam right there, and there's the bottom of the pool. And they said that's a 6-inch difference.
Oh, I see.
And I got a video
Okay.
of ours after it was installed, right?
Well, what happens between when he leaves? The plan is to figure out if it's the wrong liner. And then what happens, Mr. Brown?
Part of my pool's in the ground. That's one side ended up collapsing because we got a bunch of heavy rain. Yep.
Okay. When does the collapse of the side of the pool happen in relation to when the defendant had been there? How much later?
He left Saturday probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and this happened sometime between Sunday night and Monday morning.
Okay. Isn't that kind of risky, Mr. Fote, to leave it halfway like that and not reinforce it in any way? Isn't it predictable that something like what ended up happening would happen? Because now it's going to cost more because of it caving.
When we got there, Your Honor, the pool walls were already collapsing. So, yeah.
Do you have pictures?
No, ma'am, I do not. I don't.
Let me ask you, Mr. Brown, was your pool already collapsing like he says?
No, ma'am. There's a picture from May 15th that I sent you that Friday night that shows it standing with a little bit of water in the bottom. That's the one I sent him that Friday, but I got another one too from May 9th.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. You end up hiring another contractor to install the liner, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And do you have anything from that other contractor that tells us whether or not, according to you, that other contractor used the same liner? It was the right liner. It was just being installed incorrectly by Mr. Fote, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a handwritten bill of sale by the individual who placed it in, who says that you paid him $1,600 cash for pool liner to be installed, and he had to also fix the wall of the pool with replacement parts, and there was nothing wrong with the liner. It fit perfectly. Who is the person who installed it?
Tony.
And Tony is from what, the original pool company who had installed it the first time?
He didn't install it the first time, but yes, he works for that.
But he's with the company. So now we know that it costs, well, how much of that $1,600 was to fix the problem that it caved in, and how much was for installing the liner? Do you know?
He didn't break it down, honestly. So I can honestly tell you.
But I'm going to guess that they charge more than $300 or $400 to install a liner.
I'm assuming so. I never did that.
Why he called me in the first place.
Probably. Yeah, I know. We have a saying in Spanish, lo barato sale caro. The cheap comes out expensive. But you also have an obligation, Mr. Fote, not to take a job that you can't do. And he has this statement from the person who installed it, who's the company who sent it to him, who always said it's the right liner, but Mr. Fote doesn't know how to install this liner. So now we have a situation where someone else had to come in and install it, and we also have a situation where there were some consequential damages as a result of of mistakenly thinking that it wasn't the right size liner, you know, because it ends up caving in. We've even got a video of the guy installing it.
So I got different contractors coming today, which is Sunday, to put the liner in that the other contractor said that wouldn't fit.
So now let's see what this is.
There's your seam. There's the water.
Okay.
You see the seam up there?
That's exactly where
about
we
6
Yeah.
inches up.
So the seam should be 6 inches up as opposed to down. That's what, just a second, sir.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says the defendant didn't know what he was doing when he installed a liner in his pool, and he caused the entire pool to collapse. But the defendant says the liner was the wrong size, and he told the plaintiff to order the right size liner, and he'd install it. Let's listen.
Apparently, the people that sold him it went out there, installed it. You're very happy with the liner. The seam is higher than the 90-degree angle or whatever it is. That's where it's supposed to be, according to them, and it fit perfectly when that happened, so they ended up being right, that it's the correct liner, right? Okay, all right. Now, why are you suing, though, for $2,000-something? You paid him how much?
$300.
Right, but if you get his $300 back and he pays you $1,600, you got a pool liner installed for nothing, plus $1,000 in distress. You know, that's kind of greedy.
Well, yeah, it is kind of greedy, but the point of the matter is if the pool liner would have got installed the day that he was here, it would have
absolutely
when he came here.
Right. So what you're out is the $1,600 you had to pay somebody else to get it installed properly, right? Plus your court costs. So I'm finding in your favor, and the amount is $1,600 that you had to pay the second contractor to install the very same liner, and of course your court costs. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff prevails. He doesn't get the $2,900 he was seeking. He gets $1,600. Let's talk to Mr. Fote, the defendant in this case. Mr. Fote, what do you think about the outcome?
Well, I believe I probably should have had a little more evidence prepared and ready. Like I said, I remodel homes, so I'm not really a pool guy. I respect the judge's decision.
Thank you very much. Sorry it didn't work out in your favor. Mr. Brown, how do you feel? You're not getting $2,900, but you did win the case. What about that?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. At least I got recouped most of my money back.
Bottom line, how is the pool today?
Oh, it's lovely. Definitely nice.
All right. Well, very good. Congratulations. Good enough. All right. That'll wrap it up for this case. Let's have some more after the verdict conversation now between Judge Millian and her husband, Judge John.
Marilyn, you mentioned that you were awarding some consequential damages in this case, and consequential damages typically are when someone who's a party to a contract doesn't live up to their end of the bargain, and there are consequences that are foreseeable to that, right?
Right. So all this defendant had made was those $300. So in his mind, well, I'll just get back the $300. But no, if your negligence, and I found this to be his negligence, that he just didn't know how to install this liner, if your negligence causes further damage, which was the caving in of the sides of the pool because of all the rains, then you're got to pay for that. In other words, if it turned out to have been the wrong liner, he wouldn't have had to pay anything. That wouldn't have been his fault. But if it did turn out to be the correct liner and he misjudged, then he has to pay the consequential damage.
Of course. And I got the impression that you thought that maybe the price was a little too good to be true on the front end of it.
Yeah, and I think that people need to understand that, and you know, that's kind of why you need more than one estimate.
Right. Get 2 or 3 estimates and
figure
figure out whether it is too good to be true.
Right, because if it is too good to be true, you know, then it's not true. That's what's going on. So whenever there's a construction project, you get 2 or 3 estimates, and then you kind of have the ballpark.
Why do different states have different maximum amounts you can sue for in small claims courtrooms across the country? Well, they are different laws because they are different states. And this is a system of government where each state can make decisions on how much people can sue for in what court. There are certain courtrooms, courthouses in some states where you can sue for $10,000 and others where you can sue for $1,000, maybe a little more. You have to look at the law online in your state. That will do it for this case. Litigants are inside the courtroom for the next case.